have we really even talked about Giannis's supermax potential? I don't think it's something that's come up on the show, but like individually, if you're Giannis, would you feel comfortable signing a supermax contract this offseason, given all the moves that they've made as a team?
This offseason, no. Um, I just don't think it's smart, even if I was comfortable with it, because you don't want them to get comfortable. You still want them to feel like they have to do whatever it takes. And some of the reports I heard was they were on that path to getting him to feel that way, but the Bogdanovich miss was a big thing for him. So yeah, I mean that changes everything. Drew Holiday was nice, but I think getting Bogdan it put them at a different level, and the fact that they didn't, they still went out and got some good pieces. Brent Forbes. I feel like they added somebody up. Bobby.
They had a lot of changes. And I'm about to look it up, and I want to talk about them and see if y'all think that they got better or did a lot of their moves end up lateral, because I saw a lot of that conversation on Twitter the other day. Mike, if you were Giannis, would you feel comfortable signing that Supermax right now?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. And this is my reason why. Just because the way the Bucks are going about it, I don't know how far they're just gonna go. Like with the talent, when they say that, it kind of worries me when they say that that Bogdanovich, like he was the focal point, like he was one of the main reasons why they feel like, once they let him go, they felt like they weren't confident that Giannis was going to be all the way in and do all this type of stuff. So that for me, I think Giannis has the ability where he has a pool. He could be like, I want a 1+1 year deal or something like that. I think that in the back of his mind, he knows that, the Bucks probably need him a lot more than, he needs them. Right. It's going to be every team knocking on his door, trying to give him that max. And it's going to be willing to put the piece around him. If the Bucks can't do it in the short coming years, then it's just no point to stay. I like the 1+1 deal.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm applying pressure. I'm not signing that extension this offseason. I'm putting the pressure on the front office to try to make me want to be here. They tried to do it with Drew Holiday. I mean, you just got to see the success of this team. This team could still go to the playoffs and flop. There's still a possibility that happens. So if I'm him, I'm waiting, I'm holding it out, and I'm going to see what happens.
So they did. Oh, go ahead, P.
One more thing to add to this, because we all kind of said the same thing, but I think we all failed to mention too, though, is that it's a pro and a con to applying that pressure that we all basically just mentioned, that you just said, D Mills. And the thing is, when you look at the Bogdanovich situation, I don't believe he makes that much more money in Atlanta than he would have in Milwaukee. Ain't like he got some bag that wasn't there. But I probably would assure you that part of the reason of not going to Milwaukee is the fact that Giannis isn't there. Like that he can leave. So It's like you can apply pressure Giannis and want them to make these moves, but also getting people is going to be a little bit harder because let's face it, I can't fully want to go to Milwaukee if Giannis will be good. That changes the whole scenario. If I'm Bogdanovich, I want to sign this 4-year deal, but then the last 3 years of the deal, Giannis probably won't even be there. It's tough. Versus the Hawks. I know the Hawks is about to have John Collins, Trae Young, Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter for the next 4 years. I know that this is a solidified unit versus I can go here with this guy, get a taste of the playoffs, make a run. We fall short, he gone. Now, we struggle to make the playoffs.
Right.
So
this is a team that made so many moves this offseason. 7 players from their last year roster are no longer with the team, but these are the new players. So they got Drew Holiday. What's up?
We should try to guess them.
Go ahead. Guess the players that were on the Bucks last year that won't be this year.
Mike, DJ Augustine,
Brent Forbes,
Bobby Portis.
Yep.
They drafted Jordan Nwora. Sam Morrell.
Yep. That's it.
That's we got them all.
Yeah. Did you say Drew Holiday? I'm guessing you already said Drew Holiday.
I thought you said 8. You said 7.
7 players are gone.
Oh, okay.
And those players are Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, Wes Matthews, Cal Korver, Robin Lopez, Ersan Ilyasova, and Sterling Brown. Y'all know the Bucks had the best bench. What was that?
Did they lose DJ Wilson?
Maybe, but on this current list, he's still there.
Okay.
So y'all know they had the best bench in the league last year, and a lot of that bench mob is gone. But they did bring in guys that y'all just mentioned. So the big acquisition, of course, Drew Holiday fits with the team a little bit better than what Eric Bledsoe would have, and I think that the Bogdanovich get would have been super big for this team. But after that, their teams is not as they're not as deep this going into this year as last year. I mean, they may have raised their ceiling, but they may have lowered their floor as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a little give and take there. But this is maybe, hopefully, puts the pressure on Coach Bud to actually play Giannis 40 minutes a game in the playoffs, because who's that backup now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it could put some pressure on Bud.
That depth didn't help them in the playoffs.
Exactly.
We saw that bench flop completely. They was pretty much non-existent.
And that's like a question I always have. Like when it comes to like winning basketball, championship basketball, when the playoffs come around, usually depth is cut, right? So like the player that was getting minutes as a 9th and 10th man on the roster usually doesn't get that in the playoffs. And like this year, the Lakers, they weren't running super deep. You know, as far as like overall, like great talent. The end of the rotation guys was just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say about you saying that. I think I don't want to go too far, but I think depth can be a little overrated. And I think the floor can be a little overrated, right? Like maybe that's a good thing for the Bucks. Like they don't need to win. They don't need to win 60 games. We've seen that before. You know what I mean? The whole 55, 60 win thing. That's like if they win 49 games, that's no problem. People in the media will probably talk like, oh, but who cares? Because you're just striving for the playoffs. They shouldn't. Their mindset should be like Golden State after they won the 73 games. We're not here to chase anything about the regular season. We just want to get to the playoffs and get to where we need to go. But the depth, yeah, like you said, the depth, why does it matter? You're going to play Giannis 40 minutes anyway. You're going to play Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton those minutes. And you're going to probably play Brook Lopez. You probably want to switch out the other wing player. DiVincenzo gets some minutes here. Augustine will probably slide in there. But other than that, what championship team? Yeah, that's like my Hawk concern. We've never seen an 11 to 12 man rotation. So, yeah. I mean, it's just like you're good if you have that strong, solid starting 5 and a couple of guys off the bench, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's also comes the play in just like the right rotation. It doesn't always have to be like the deepest, the best players off your bench. But I think when you can play like different types of basketball when you need to, like the chess type of basketball we talk about when the Lakers had the ability to go out small or go out big. I think just having that for the playoffs is probably the most important, because it, you know, as good as the Bucks are, they're going to run through the regular season, you know, and, you know, they could be one of them teams that for order them to win, it has to be just like everything has to line up, right? Because there's multiple teams out there that we look at and be like, you know what, they got the personnel to build that wall, you know, and, you know, the Bucks aren't going to shoot 40% from deep, you know, every damn playoff series or something like that. They're going to have a time where they're going to have to get that hump over, and it's either going to have to be Giannis is the one taking them over that hump, or it's going to be the team around him is just so built, so well fit that it's, you know, going to get them over that. I think that's why Giannis should be looking at these playoffs so in depth, because there's another team out there, I think it's the same thing, where they're going to have to get over that hump to really make the decision. But it's just the playoffs is so different.
Milwaukee, though, I think they did get better. I think that was your initial question. Yeah. I think they did get better. I think Drew Holiday for Bledsoe just makes them better, in my opinion. But how much better did they get? I think it's to be seen. But I definitely do think they did get better.
Yeah, I think it's around the same too. Adding Drew Holiday was just a big W for them, because they have a dude that can, you know, they can probably lock up opposing guards, at least try his best, and then also give him some points on the other end. But I think this team is kind of similar. I think some of the minuses that they take away kind of like balances out the additions, but this team's going to fly through the regular season. I think it all comes down to the playoffs, you know, regardless of where Giannis is. Like I said, there's several teams I can see, like they're just going to they're going to put up that wall, you know, and if it ends the same way, then I don't know. It's like, regardless of the shooting, man, it's just Giannis, I think, is also going to have to take another step.
Yeah, I think they got better, because for the last few years, they've been kind of wanting to get rid of Bledsoe. He's been in trade rumors consistently. So when you get rid of the guy that you were trying to get rid of eventually, and you get a better guy in Drew Holiday, I think you inevitably get better, because they gave up Bledsoe and George Hill. I mean, George Hill was huge for them in the playoffs off the bench, but I feel like when you get Drew Holiday, he gives you a different dynamic where he can actually come out, defend. He's a really good playmaker. You can give him the ball down the stretch sometimes. He's one of those glue guys that just brings everybody together.
Yeah, I mean they should be praying that Giannis signs the Supermax this offseason because, I mean, those 3 picks and 2 pick swaps are going to look so very good to the Pelicans if Giannis doesn't sign. Like, if he doesn't sign, no, this Bucks team is not, without Giannis, this Bucks team is what? Maybe in 7th, 8th seed at the best. Like what Giannis is that team. But I think there is some merit to the idea that, like, I agree with y'all. I do think that they are better, but there's some merit to the idea of, like, you can't just put together a team on the fly like that and expect it to click, especially in a shortened offseason, a shortened training camp, a shorter preseason. Like, we're going to be into games that matter very, very soon, y'all. Like, training camp is starting up. So having 8 new guys on the roster instead of the 8 guys that have been on the team for the last 3 seasons where you've built this camaraderie could be something. I mean, I don't know what the leadership look like in the locker room. Like, it worked for the Lakers because you got goddamn LeBron James, like the best leader of all time. But you have to question a little bit of that. And some of the people that were leaders in that locker room last season are gone. You know, like George Hill, from everything I've read, has been a vocal leader for that team since he's been with them. Sterling Brown might not have been a guy that was getting a lot of minutes, but he was loved in that locker room. So it's just like things are changing. And if this is how you get Giannis to sign, then you do it 100% of the time. But if he doesn't sign, then you're in a scary place. You're in a very scary place.